1 year before Kurt Cobain took his own life, Michael Jackson saw something in his eyes. Backstage at the MTV Awards, he wrote his private number on a napkin. "When it gets too dark, call me." Kurt kept the napkin in his wallet. He never called. This is the story of the call that could have saved him, and why Michael Jackson spent 15 years asking himself, why didn't he call? September 12, 1993, MTV Video Music Awards, Universal Amphitheater, Los Angeles. The biggest night in music. Nirvana just performed. Kurt Cobain, 26 years old, stumbling off stage. Flannel shirt, ripped jeans, blonde hair stringy and unwashed, eyes hollow, empty, dead. Michael Jackson was watching from the wings. He'd seen that look before, in his own mirror, in hotel bathrooms at 3 in the morning when the pain was too much and the pills weren't working and the world wanted Michael Jackson, but all he wanted was to disappear. The look that says, "I don't know how much longer I can do this." Kurt collapsed into a folding chair backstage, sweating, shaking. His band members, Chris and Dave, celebrating somewhere, but Kurt alone, always alone, even in a room full of people. That's what fame does. Puts you on an island, surrounded by water, and everyone's watching you drown, but nobody's swimming out to save you. I'll approached slowly, carefully, like approaching a wounded animal. One wrong move and Kurt would bolt. "That was incredible," Michael said, his soft voice barely audible over the backstage chaos. Kurt looked up, bloodshot eyes, recognized Michael immediately. Everyone recognized Michael, the biggest star on the planet, talking to the voice of a generation that didn't want to be a voice. "Thanks," Kurt mumbled, not making eye contact, not wanting conversation, just wanting to be left alone. But Michael didn't leave. He sat down in the chair next to Kurt, close enough to talk, far enough to not invade. He'd learned this. How to be present without being threatening. How to offer help without demanding anything. "I know what you're feeling right now," Michael said. Kurt scoffed. "No offense, man. But you're Michael Jackson. You don't know what I'm feeling." "You're right." Michael nodded. "I'm Michael Jackson. Which means I've been famous since I was 5 years old. Which means I've spent 41 years being a product instead of a person. Which means I know exactly what it feels like to want to disappear." Kurt looked at him now. Really looked. Saw something in Michael's eyes that mirrored his own. Pain, exhaustion, the weight of expectations that would crush normal people. Except they weren't normal people. They were Michael Jackson and Kurt Cobain. And normal people expected them to be superhuman. "The difference between you and me," Will continued, "is that you're 26. You've been famous for what, 2 years? I've been doing this for 36 years, and I'm still here. Barely, but I'm here." "How?" Kurt asked. Simple question, heavy answer. "I almost wasn't," Michael said. Honest, raw, no performer, mask, just truth. 1993 has been the worst year of my life. The allegations, the betrayal, the strip search, the whole world thinking I'm a monster. 2 months ago, sat in my hotel room with enough propofol to never wake up. And I thought about it, really thought about it." Kurt was listening now, fully present, because someone was telling him the truth, not managing him, not selling him, not using him, just being honest. "What stopped you?" Kurt asked. "My sister Janet. She called at 2 in the morning. We didn't talk about anything important, just memories, being kids, before all this. And I realized something. The part of me that wanted to die wasn't really me. It was Michael Jackson, the product, the brand, the thing the world created. But Michael from Gary, Indiana, that kid still wanted to live." Michael pulled out a pen from his jacket pocket, grabbed a napkin from a nearby table, wrote something, folded it, handed it to Kurt. "That's my private number, not my management, not my publicist. Me. When it gets too dark, when you're sitting there thinking about ending it, call me. I don't care what time, I don't care what day. You call me, because I've been there, and I know that sometimes the only thing that saves you is knowing one other person understands." Kurt took the napkin, stared at it. Michael Jackson's handwriting, a phone number, simple, powerful, a lifeline from someone who'd been drowning too. "Why are you doing this?" Kurt asked. Because nobody did it for me when I was 26. And I almost didn't make it to 27. You're 26 right now. In 8 months, you'll be 27. That's when it gets really dangerous. Janice, Jimmy, Jim Morrison, Brian Jones, all 27, all gave up. I'm not letting another 27-year-old die if I can help it. Kurt folded the napkin, put it in his wallet, behind his driver's license. Safe, protected, available. Thanks, Kurt said. Meant it. Promise me you'll call if you need to, Michael said. I promise. Kurt lied. That was September 12, 1993. The last time Michael Jackson and Kurt Cobain spoke face to face. But it wasn't the last time Michael thought about Kurt. Not even close. Over the next 7 months, Michael thought about that backstage conversation constantly. Wondered if Kurt was okay. Wondered if he should call first. But he didn't want to intrude. Didn't want to push. So he waited. Hoped that Kurt would reach out if he needed to. Kurt never did. February 1994. Kurt's drug use spiraling. Heroin addiction consuming him. Marriage to Courtney Love falling apart. Pressure from record label. Pressure from fans. Pressure from media. Everyone wanting something. Nobody giving anything except demands. March 4th. Rome, Italy. Kurt's first suicide attempt. Overdose on Rohypnol and champagne. Courtney found him unconscious. Hospital. Stomach pumped. Official story. Accident. Real story. He wanted out. Michael heard about Rome through music industry channels. Called Kurt's management. Asked how he was. Got corporate speak. Kurt's fine. Just exhausted. He'll be back on tour soon. Michael knew that language. Exhausted meant breaking. Back soon meant being pushed before ready. He'd lived that cycle himself. He thought about calling Kurt directly. Had the napkin number, but hesitated. What if Kurt didn't remember? What if it was too personal? What if Michael was overstepping? So Michael didn't call, and Kurt didn't call, and the distance grew. March 25th. Kurt entered Rehab. Exodus Recovery Center, Los Angeles. Mandatory intervention by Courtney and management. Treatment for heroin addiction, for depression, for the darkness that was swallowing him whole. Michael found out through MTV News. Saw Kurt's photo. Same hollow eyes from September. Maybe worse. Definitely worse. This time Michael tried calling. Got Kurt's manager. Left a message. This is Michael Jackson. Tell Kurt I'm thinking about him. Tell him to call me if he needs anything. The message never reached Kurt. Manager thought it was a prank. Deleted it. Kurt never knew Michael had tried. April 1st. Kurt escaped from rehab. Scaled a 6-foot wall. Disappeared. Nobody knew where he went. Courtney frantic. Management searching. Friends calling hospitals. Kurt gone. April 5th. Kurt returned to Seattle. To the house on Lake Washington Boulevard. Big house. Empty house. Just Kurt and his demons and the weight of a world that loved Nirvana, but destroyed the man who created it. That night, Kurt sat in the greenhouse above the garage. Alone. Dark. Cold. He pulled out his wallet, looking for something. Found the napkin. Michael Jackson's number. Faded ink. Wrinkled paper. 7 months old. Kurt stared at it. Thought about calling. Really thought about it. Michael had said anytime. Michael had understood. Michael had been there. But Kurt didn't call. Pride maybe. Shame probably. The feeling that asking for help meant admitting weakness. And Kurt Cobain couldn't be weak. Kurt Cobain had to be the voice of a generation. Had to be the reluctant icon. Had to carry the weight of everyone's expectations. Even while drowning under his own. So he put the napkin back in his wallet, behind his driver's license, where it had been since September. And instead of calling for help, Kurt Cobain made a different choice. April 8, 1994, 8:30 a.m. Electrician Gary Smith arrived at Kurt's house. Work order for new security lighting. Found Kurt's body in the greenhouse. Dead for 3 days. Self-inflicted shotgun wound. 27 years old. Police investigation. Detective came. Documented the scene. Went through Kurt's pockets. Wallet. Driver's license. Credit cards. $40 cash. And a napkin. Worn. Folded. With a phone number written in black ink. And 8 words. When it gets too dark, call me. MJ. The detective didn't know what MJ meant. Could be anyone, but the number had a 310 area code. Los Angeles. He bagged it as evidence, filed it in the case report, forgot about it, but someone else didn't forget. A Seattle PD clerk processing evidence photos recognized Michael Jackson's handwriting from autographs. The distinctive M, the flowing J, MJ, Michael Jackson. The clerk told a friend, friend told a reporter, reporter called Michael's publicist. Is it true Michael Jackson gave Kurt Cobain his phone number? The publicist denied it. Mr. Jackson and Mr. Cobain were not personally acquainted. No comment. But the story leaked anyway. Small mention in Rolling Stone. 3 sentences. Police found a napkin in Kurt Cobain's wallet with what appears to be Michael Jackson's phone number and a note encouraging contact. Jackson's representatives denied the two had a personal relationship. The note's authenticity cannot be confirmed. Michael read that article in his hotel room, Las Vegas. History album recording sessions. He read it and his hands started shaking. The napkin. Kurt had kept it for 7 months. Had it in his wallet when he died, which meant Kurt had thought about calling. Had the number available. Could have reached out, but didn't. Michael called his security chief Bill immediately. Get me that napkin. I don't care what it costs. I don't care who you have to talk to. Get it. Bill did. 3 months later, paid a Seattle PD evidence clerk $5,000 cash. Illegal, unethical, necessary. The napkin arrived at Neverland in a plastic evidence bag. July 1994. Michael opened it alone. In his bedroom, pulled out the napkin, his handwriting. When it gets too dark, call me. The paper worn thin, creases from being folded and unfolded. Kurt had looked at it multiple times, had considered calling, but never did. Michael broke down, sobbing, because he knew that Kurt had thought about calling, knew that Kurt had needed help, knew that if Kurt had just dialed those 10 numbers, maybe things would be different. Maybe Kurt would still be alive. Maybe Michael could have talked him down like Janet had talked Michael down. Maybe that napkin could have been a lifeline instead of evidence in a suicide investigation. But Kurt didn't call, and Michael didn't push harder, and now Kurt was dead. 27. Another member of the club nobody wants to join. The famous who died young because the world loved them to death. Michael kept the napkin in a frame on his nightstand where he could see it every day. A reminder of the call that never came, of the life that could have been saved, of his failure to save someone who might have needed saving. Why didn't he call? Michael asked himself. Every day, every night, for 15 years. Why didn't he call? 1995. Michael thrown himself into work. History album. Therapy. Trying to process Kurt's death. Trying to understand why Kurt chose silence over help. Trying not to blame himself, but failing constantly. His therapist asked, "Did you do everything you could?" "I gave him my number," Michael said. "Did you call him?" "Once. Left a message. His manager didn't pass it on." "Did you try again?" Silence. The answer was no. Michael hadn't tried again, had assumed Kurt would reach out if needed, had respected Kurt's space, had waited for a call that never came. "I should have tried harder," Michael whispered. "Kurt made his choice," the therapist said. "You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved." But Michael didn't believe that, couldn't believe that, because if it was true, then all the pain was meaningless. All the reaching out was pointless. All the lifelines thrown were worthless if people chose to drown anyway. 2000. Michael started calling young artists, randomly, checking in. Eminem after his mother sued him. Britney after her breakdown. Lindsay Lohan during her addiction spiral. Just calling, just talking, just offering. Because he couldn't save Kurt. But maybe he could save someone else. Some answered. Some got help. Britney's 730 consecutive nights started because Michael learned from Kurt. Learned that you can't wait for people to call. You have to call them again and again until they answer or until they're safe. 2005. Michael's trial. Child molestation allegations. The world against him again. sitting in court every day while prosecutors tried to destroy him, while media called him a monster, while everything he'd built crumbled. Macaulay Culkin testified, defended Michael. "He saved my life. Everyone thinks he was the danger. He was the protector." But Michael barely heard it, because sitting in that courtroom, facing prison, facing the death of his reputation, he thought about Kurt, about how Kurt had faced similar pressure, public judgment, media destruction, the weight of being misunderstood by millions. And Michael understood why Kurt didn't call. Because when you're that low, when the world is crushing you that completely, you can't imagine anyone understanding. You can't imagine help existing. You can't see past the darkness to believe that light is possible. Kurt didn't call because Kurt couldn't call. The depression had convinced him that calling was pointless, that Michael wouldn't understand, that nobody could help, that ending, it was the only solution. Michael knew, because now he felt it too. Sitting in that courtroom, facing life in prison, facing the complete annihilation of everything. He was the same darkness Kurt had felt, the same weight. But Michael had people who called him. Janet, Elizabeth Taylor, Macaulay. They called every night during the trial, forced him to answer, forced him to stay connected, did for Michael what Michael had tried to do for Kurt, but failed. June 2005. Michael acquitted. All charges. Not guilty. Free, but not free. Because the trial had broken something in him. The propofol use increased. The pain medications doubled. The isolation deepened. Michael was physically free, but mentally imprisoned by trauma and guilt and exhaustion. 2009. This Is It tour announced. 50 concerts. London. The comeback. Except Michael's body was failing. The propofol doses getting dangerous. Dr. Conrad Murray administering amounts that should kill. Michael knowing it was dangerous, but too tired to care. June 23, 2009. Rehearsal. Michael, barely able to stand, going through motions. The show must go on. Always the show, never the person, just the performance. That night, Michael sat in his bedroom at the rented mansion, looked at the napkin in its frame. Kurt's napkin, 15 years old. When it gets too dark, call me. Michael picked up his phone, called Janet. "I'm so tired," he told her. "I don't know how much longer I can do this." "Then stop," Janet said. "Cancel the tour. Rest. Take care of yourself." "I can't," Michael said. "Too many people depending on me. Too much money invested. Too many expectations." "That's what killed Kurt," Janet said quietly. "Expectations. Don't let them kill you too." "I wish he'd called," Michael whispered. "I wish I'd tried harder. I wish I'd saved him." "You can't save everyone, Michael, but you can save yourself. Please, please stop before it's too late." June 25, 2009. 2:26 a.m. Michael Jackson's heart stopped. Propofol overdose. Dr. Murray's criminal negligence. 50 years old. Not 27 like Kurt, but dead the same. Gave up the same. Couldn't carry the weight anymore. When they went through Michael's belongings, they found the napkin, framed on his nightstand. Kurt's napkin, with Michael's note. "When it gets too dark, call me." But Michael was the one who got too dark. And even though people called him, even though Janet begged him, even though Elizabeth pleaded, Michael couldn't hear them. The darkness was too complete. The exhaustion too total. Just like Kurt 15 years earlier. 2011. Michael's estate auction. The napkin went up for sale. Kurt Cobain's wallet napkin with Michael Jackson's phone number. Starting bid, $50,000. Courtney Love bought it. $200,000. Brought it home. Stared at it. 2 dead men. 1 napkin. 1 phone number. 1 call that never happened. "Why didn't you call?" Courtney whispered to Kurt's memory. He would have helped. He understood. "Why didn't you call?" The same question Michael had asked for 15 years. The same question that haunted him until his own darkness became too much. Why didn't Kurt call? And why couldn't anyone save Michael when his turn came? Today, the napkin is in a Seattle museum. Museum of Pop Culture. Behind glass. Kurt Cobain exhibit. Thousands of people see it every year. Read Michael's handwriting. "When it gets too dark, call me." A reminder that asking for help is hard. That reaching out requires strength. that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is dial a phone number, and that not calling, not asking, not reaching out can be the difference between living and becoming. Another cautionary tale. Kurt Cobain died April 8, 1994, 27 years old. He had a lifeline in his wallet. He never used it. Michael Jackson died June 25, 2009, 50 years old. He had people calling him every day. He couldn't hear them anymore. Two men, both brilliant, both broken, both destroyed by the same thing. The weight of being extraordinary in a world that consumes extraordinary people. The napkin still exists. The phone number still written. The words still clear. When it gets too dark, call me. But the man who wrote it is gone, and the man who received it never called. This is the story of the call that never happened, the conversation that could have saved a life, the phone number that stayed silent until it was too late. If you're reading this and you're in that darkness, if you're thinking about giving up, if you're feeling like Kurt felt, like Michael felt, like so many others have felt, remember this: someone, somewhere, wants you to call. Someone, somewhere would answer. Someone, somewhere understands. Kurt had Michael's number, but you have options Kurt didn't know about. Hotlines, friends, family, therapists, strangers who care. Don't be the call that never happened. Don't be the napkin in the wallet. Be the voice on the other end saying, "I need help," because that's the bravest thing anyone can say, and it's the thing that saves lives. Kurt Cobain kept Michael Jackson's number for 7 months. Looked at it, thought about calling, but pride or shame or darkness stopped him. And 15 years later, Michael Jackson died carrying guilt for the call Kurt never made. 2 tragedies, 1 napkin, 1 phone number, 1 call away from possibly different endings. The saddest words in any story: what if he'd called?